Okay, so it's the Monday after GenCon, and I thought it would be fun to do a little haul video and just kind of show you all the stuff that I picked up at the 4 best days of gaming. It's all coming up right after this. Hey YouTube, this is Pack Tech, and yes, it is the Monday after GenCon, and I'm deep in board game heaven. I seem to have picked up an incredible amount of things at this convention. GenCon is really pretty amazing in that it has just about anything you're ever looking for in a board game. A lot of new games that have just arrived. I'll be doing some extensive reviews, especially on Forbidden Sky, which was a really highly anticipated board game. I actually got there early. They only sold so many a day. So I got there early, I sat in line, and then I rushed through the crowd and got my own copy. Holly and Kerrigan get back into town tonight. I've got to hide all this before she gets home. But they get back in town tonight, and we're going to play Forbidden Sky, and we're going to learn it and kind of just see what our impressions are of it. I'll be making a video for that very soon. GenCon in general was a lot of fun, but as a first-time goer to GenCon, I made we'll call them suboptimal decisions. So I'll be making a video that is all about the best way to attend GenCon, maybe some do's and don'ts for GenCon. So I'll have this video, that video, and do's and don'ts for GenCon, and then that'll be it. We'll move on to more reviews, and painting, and whatever else you want to see. But okay, starting here, I've got Ticket to Ride New York by Days of Wonder, and this is a really small version of Ticket to Ride. It's like a 15-minute Ticket to Ride. Really tiny profile too, a very small game that might be good for people that don't have a lot of space to spread out a huge board game. It's got a really small tabletop presence, and I'm looking forward to checking it out. It's like just a really neat compact version of Ticket to Ride. Right here I've got the Terrain Crate, and this is a Mantic Games product, and it is, this one happens to be the, what did they call it? Terrain Crate Town. And it's got all these little pieces of furniture in it from both sides of this. And they're really nice little resin pieces of furniture. So where else are you going to find a tiny bookshelf for the interiors on your Walking Dead game, guys? You know, I bought a lot of this from the Walking Dead. Some of this is sort of medieval. You know, there's like racks of, you know, there's a horse with a carriage, and which I guess, you know, that could be in the Walking Dead pretty easily. But there's like, you know, there are racks with swords and stuff in them and stuff like that. I won't be using that for the Walking Dead. But a lot of these other bookcases and stuff, I'll be able to really dress up some of these houses that I bought. I'll show you that in a minute. In fact, why not just go there now? So I got this house from Foreground, and this is a MDF building that you can assemble. And as you can see, you can take off the top, and it has a full interior also. Very highly detailed, no painting required with this. It's pretty much painted in the colors, you just assemble it. So you just glue it together. It is a fairly difficult project. I have another one of these already, a shotgun house, just a really long 3-bedroom house, and or really long, you know, maybe a bedroom house. Anyway, so I've got 2 of these houses, and now I've got some furniture to put in them. So I'm excited to see what I can make with that. More on the MDF stuff. I got a little tiny dice tower. This is a really small little dice tower that I thought would be fun. I've got one dice tower, but it always ends up on one side of the table, and then the person on the other side of the table will have to reach for it. So I thought it might be cool just to get one more. I also got a paint rack. Just a little MDF product where you can assemble it and make yourself a little rack for your paints. I got these little laser cut things. These are things that punch out, and then you can put them on the bases of the miniatures if you want to base some in a really fancy way. Gale Force 9 had a booth up, and they had some of the Firefly Adventures characters And this is Anara, which is actually a character that hasn't been released yet. But this is a resin version. They had a resin version for all those little plastic versions of the characters in the Firefly Adventures box. That's one of the first videos I did. They also had some for expansions that they're about to put out that they haven't put out yet, and she is one of those. But these were about $10 a piece, so I just kind of got maybe my favorite one, and I really like Anara, so I got her. I got this for $5, and what it is Mal in a prairie dress. I don't remember that from one of the episodes. But that's basically a resin version of that kind of funny model. And it's a limited thing. This was a promo item, so there wasn't going to be another way to get this one. Of course, the big news this weekend too was that X-Wing 2.0 came out, and I'm so heavily invested in X-Wing, guys. I've got lots and lots and lots of X-Wing. So I went ahead and I got the new version of X-Wing. And along with that, I got the Saw's Renegades expansion, because I didn't have the U-Wing already, and it's got another X-Wing in there. Really cool black and gray paint jobs. And this has both the second edition and the first edition and the second edition rules in it. I also got 2 conversion boxes. Now what this does is it takes all the cards and the dials from a specific set of ships, a faction of ships, and it updates it to the new rules. These are quite expensive, but all the X-Wing stuff is pretty pricey. I mean, you pay a lot for a miniature that looks pretty good that you can pull right out of the box and play. Not necessarily any other painting required. Anyway, so these expansions are about $50, but they have tons and tons of stuff in it. Like, these are actually really pretty heavy for what they are. But I got the Scum and Villainy and the Rebel Alliance. I have a lot of Imperial stuff too, but I decided to wait on the Imperial ones until I can recover a little bit. Okay, so moving along, I got this game called The Mind. And this is kind of a neat party game. How many people does it play? Well, it plays 4 people, so I wouldn't call it a party game. This is a really, really interesting card game. It's been sort of taking the internet by storm. It's a really, really, really weird concept for a card game. I will possibly go over this very soon. Another one I'm going to have to play for a few times before I can actually give my real impression of it, because watching it versus doing it is 2 different things. I got some little Dice Tower dice to show my support for the Dice Tower network. I picked up a little tiny game called Tiny Epic Zombies, and it is the deluxe version, so it'll have the stuff that came in the Kickstarter. I got the Onitama Way of the Wind expansion, which contains an extra character and a couple of more moves that you can add into your deck. If you're not familiar with Onitama, it's a really cool game, and the packaging that they do is just sublime. Also got a little game called Trash Pandas. And this is just a fun little game from Game Right Games. We'll possibly talk more about that. We're going to play this a couple of times and see what we think, and we'll let you know. Now also from Weta Workshop, I got the Urban Wasteland expansion, which contains plastic versions of the Heavy Hitters buildings. So they're plastic from the top down. They also have little toppers on here that do some special things. They have turrets that you can put up. They also have this other mech in here, that's the big little buddy, and he can like suddenly change sides and become your friend or become your enemy, just like that. But these are all expansions that go with Heavy Hitters, the board game. I did a review on that on my original Pet Tech channel, and I enjoyed doing it so much, that's what inspired this entire channel. So I had to pick this up. I did not get the other expansion. They got another expansion with these 2 robots, this Sweet and Salty. I thought the colors were horrible on those. I really didn't like them at all. So, and they wanted quite a bit for it. I mean, this expansion was pretty expensive, but at least, you know, I got a really durable version of some of the terrain. But those, I don't know, the other expansion they had there didn't strike me as very valuable. This is another thing from Mantic, and it's just like little plastic piles of gold. and they gave me this for free when I bought the Terrain Crate box. And of course we've got Forbidden Sky. And this is really cool. If you've ever played Forbidden Island or Forbidden Desert, this is a sequel to those games. Like literally, the airship that you build at the end of Forbidden Desert appears in this game, like in one of the tiles. Yeah, see that guy there, that's at the end of Forbidden Desert. So it's actually a sequel, although they made this game about 5 years later. And you also got this little card as a special promo for buying it as it's released. The interior components for it are really neat. You got this cool rocket ship. It's their first game with a battery. You actually complete a whole circuit, and then I guess the rocket lights up and launches. So that's what I got up early in the morning and waited in line for. I'll be playing it tonight, and we'll let you know how it goes. Another game I'm super excited about, Towers of Madness, which is sort of a Cthulhu version of Kerplunk. Yes, you literally have a tower with little tentacles sticking out, and there's marbles inside. You pull the tentacles out, and marbles come out. And there's a whole nother aspect of the game too. I'll have to get in there and play it to really understand it. I kind of watched the playtest for maybe a couple of minutes, but I've been hearing so many good things about this game, I had to pick it up, and I was real excited to get it. So, Tower of Madness. I got this game. They were 8. I have no idea what it's about. I actually got this and Assault of the Giants, which is set in the Dungeons & Dragons universe. So, if you're into Dungeons & Dragons and you like giants, this might be a good game. I got both of these games at a live broadcast of Tabletop Game Talk. And Chris is pretty famous for just bringing tons of games and handing them out to people. And it was great to see Josh and Kitty and their spouses and everybody else. I thought it was a lot of fun. It's really interesting when you listen to a podcast a whole lot and then you finally see them in real life, and then suddenly you're there in the podcast with them. Oh, and by the way, if you'd like to hear what triggers me, what gets me to buy a game, I'm one of the first audience members that they talk to. And I'll put a link to their show down below. Be sure to check out their next episode for GenCon. And last but not least, I got this X-Wing mat. This is actually, I played it in an X-Wing tournament, and they had this player mat. And it's not like super exciting or anything, but it's got kind of a neat space theme. And I thought it would be kind of a great souvenir. So this is the most GenCon-y souvenir-y kind of thing that I got. But yeah, so it's made exactly for the dimensions of X-Wing. It's a great little player mat, and I got a super deal on it. I got it for like $20. The regular X-Wing mats are about $40, I think. So seemed like a good deal, and I grabbed it. And that's it. That's the haul. I'll be talking about Forbidden Sky next. Be sure to tune in for that. Until next time, follow your bliss, play more games. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye. And that's it. That's my haul this year. I'll be talking about Forbidden... that? Which one? But I got both of these games at a... live broadcast. But I got both of these games at a live broadcast of Tabletop Game Talk. Did I say it right? I did. Makes me buy a game. Be sure to check out their. They had one. They had some.